Hi there, welcome to my video today. I'm sharing with you 10 recipes using frozen meatballs. I always have a big bag of frozen meatballs in our freezer because my family loves them. So I have a lot of recipes to share with you today. 10 meatball recipes using frozen meatballs. Super easy, they're all delicious. If you're new to my channel, make sure you click subscribe. Tons of recipes that I love sharing with you. Let me show you these 10 recipes using frozen meatballs. So this recipe is going to be Marry Me meatballs, just like the Marry Me chicken, but with meatballs. So I have my frozen meatballs. I have my Better Than bouillon that I'm going to make 2 cups of some beef broth. I have heavy whipping cream. I'm going to add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. I have my cornstarch. You can do 2 to 3 tablespoons of cornstarch to make this a really great sauce. I'm adding in sun-dried tomatoes. These are the julienne cut sun-dried tomatoes. So I'm adding in 1/4 cup of sun-dried tomatoes, which I love the flavor of. I have some garlic powder that I will add in. I have some dried basil. And this is just such a great crock pot dish, so easy with the frozen meatballs. So this sauce is really, really yummy. I'm going to cook this on low for 8 hours, or you can do high for 4 hours. These frozen meatballs just come out really, really tender after cooking into this sauce all day. Just absolutely so yummy. You can serve these with noodles, rice, whatever kind of side dish you want, and some veggies. So good. So I have some rice that I'm going to add. So the sauce is thickened up pretty well, and it is just a really, really yummy sauce. So just your favorite kind of sides is perfect with this frozen meatball dish. So I have my frozen meatballs. I'm going to add them into my pan on the stove, and I'm going to add in some spaghetti sauce as well. I love this Prego one that is no sugar added because everything just has so much sugar in it. I love to buy things that are specifically no sugar added. So I'm going to have my hoagie rolls. You can use hot dog rolls, but this is going to be a sandwich with a meatball sandwich, like a meatball sub. And these are a huge hit with the family. I have the oven preheated to 350 degrees. So I'm just going to lay out my rolls, and then my meatballs have been cooking in my sauce, so they are nice and warm and cooked through and just really tender cooking into the spaghetti sauce. So I'm going to add my meatballs into the center of each bun, and like I said, you can use whatever your favorite kind of bun is, anything, hot dog bun, hoagie bun, your favorite. So I'm adding in the meatballs. I'm going to add in a little bit of extra sauce on top of these meatballs to just make this really, really yummy. And then after I add the sauce onto the meatballs in the sandwich, I'm going to add on some shredded mozzarella cheese, and just really just a fun, easy dinner. We do lots of easy, quick weeknight dinners, and so anything that is quick and yummy. We do lots of frozen meatballs, as you can see with these 10 recipes. So this just makes dinner just easy and yummy. The whole family loves this one. So I'm going to be doing some enchilada meatballs in the crock pot. This one is just full of flavor. Absolutely love this. So I have my enchilada sauce that I'm just going to pour over my frozen meatballs. And you can always substitute homemade meatballs as well for this. I just buy a big, huge bag of frozen meatballs because we go through them so fast. So I spread on my cheese, and I'm going to cook this on low for 8 hours. And this just turns out really, really awesome. So the cheese is delicious and melted. The enchilada sauce is so tasty. So I have some brown rice with this one, and I'm going to do a side salad as well. So just a really quick and yummy dinner. I love using the crock pot and having dinner almost all the way ready for me when we get home after a busy day. So I'm going to use the crock pot again to do some Swedish meatballs. This is a big family favorite that we have on repeat, is the Swedish meatballs. So I have cream of mushroom soup, that I'm going to add in. It's going to make a great gravy. I have beef broth that I'm going to use 2 cups of beef broth to cover these meatballs, and they will just be really, really tender. I have Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of this, which is another thing I love with meatballs and any kind of ground beef is Worcestershire sauce. And I'm going to add in a packet of brown gravy mix. I love this. It was a really easy mix. It helps thicken up the sauce as well a little bit. So I am going to add in some seasonings. I'm going to do about a teaspoon of garlic powder and season to your taste. I'm going to add in some cornstarch to make this gravy nice and thick and just a really awesome gravy. So Swedish meatballs, the sauce is just one of my favorite parts for sure. And so I love serving this with a side of noodles. You can serve it with rice as well, but anything to kind of soak up this yummy, yummy sauce. So this is going to cook on low for 8 hours. You can do it on high for 4 hours if that is the time that you have. And this just comes out really great. So just a really good gravy with these nice and tender meatballs. Serve with some noodles and it's a great dinner. So I'm going to do some Hawaiian meatballs. I have my frozen meatballs. I have a red bell pepper that I'm going to dice up. I have a green bell pepper that I will dice up as well. I am going to add in pineapple chunks. So I'm going to drain the juice out of the pineapple chunks and just add in the pineapple. I love anything with pineapple. It's so refreshing, but this is just a really great combo. So I have some monk fruit sweetener, and this is the brown sugar version. So you can use regular brown sugar if you'd like. I have liquid aminos. You can use soy sauce if you would like. I'm going to use 1 cup of the liquid aminos. And like I said, soy sauce, same thing. So I'm going to give this all a stir and then cook this in the crock pot. So you can do high for 4 hours or low for 8 hours. And the flavor of this soy sauce and the pineapple and the meatballs is so, so good. Just love the smell in the house when you have a crock pot going and you come home and the smell is just really, really good. And dinner is just about ready to go if you just have the crock pot meal. I like to serve a lot of rice with our dishes, especially with like saucy type crock pot meals. So I have some brown rice again. We do a lot of rice. But adding the meatballs into my rice and it is ready to go. Just a really awesome dinner. So I'm going to do a spaghetti squash and spaghetti meatballs. So spaghetti squash is awesome. I have my no sugar added pasta sauce that I love. So the spaghetti squash cooks really great. I'm going to cook it into a crock pot. So I'm going to cut this in half. And spaghetti squash is just a really awesome alternative to regular spaghetti pasta. So I'm going to scoop out the seeds in the center of this spaghetti squash. I'm going to use my melon baller. I just find it a lot easier because it has kind of the sharp edge to scoop out all of the seeds. So I'm going to do that to both sides and then I will put this into my crock pot. So I'm just going to set each side of the spaghetti squash into the crock pot. I'm going to add in my no sugar added sauce. You can use whatever your favorite sauce is or a homemade sauce if you like, but just really easy for this. I'm just going to pour it into the crock pot and I'm going to add in my frozen meatballs. So however many you need for your family. So I'm just going to put these onto the side and this just turns out so great. I'm going to cook this on low for 8 hours and then I will string out the spaghetti squash and it just looks just like spaghetti. It is so good and so fun to make. I just absolutely love this, especially during the fall. So this next meatball recipe is an appetizer. We do a lot of meatball appetizers in our family when we have family get-togethers, and this is just the easiest recipe ever, hands down. So I have our favorite barbecue sauce is Sweet Baby Ray's. You just coat those meatballs and put the lid on and you are good to go. So these don't take very long to cook, just so they're heated all the way through. You can do on high for about 2 hours or low for 4 hours. And these are just a huge, huge party hit. All you need to do is have a little bowl of toothpicks, and then these are ready. So just really good, kind of a sticky barbecue sauce, and they do not last long. And you can just keep them in the crock pot during the party, keep them nice and warm. And like I said, they are just a huge crowd pleaser and so simple. So I'm going to do some teriyaki meatballs on the stove. I have a diced green bell pepper. I have some minced garlic I will also add in to this. But this is going to be just a really good, I love teriyaki with meatballs. It's just a great combination. So there's so many awesome combinations with meatballs, teriyaki, marinara sauce, spaghetti sauce. So lots of different options, which is what I love. So I'm adding in some soy sauce, half a cup of soy sauce, and I am going to add in some garlic powder, as much as you like to taste. I have about a teaspoon. I have a teaspoon of cornstarch. A tablespoon of cornstarch, and I'm going to mix this all around. It's going to make a really great sauce. So now that the bell pepper is cooked a little bit and the garlic, I'm going to add in my frozen meatballs and coat this with the sauce, and then these will be just a yummy meatball. And you can serve these with any kind of side dish that you like. So I'm going to coat these meatballs, let them cook through, and they just take a few minutes. I'm going to add in some pineapple because it's just such a great combination with teriyaki dishes. So I have drained my pineapple, and then this is ready to go. So you can serve with rice or noodles, whatever you prefer, a side salad, and then this is ready to go. So super easy and quick. So I'm doing a different version of some teriyaki meatballs. So I have teriyaki sauce, I have some water to add to that, I have some garlic powder, I have some ground ginger, which really gives this a really awesome flavor of any kind of like Asian type recipe. I have some minced garlic. So I'm going to add in some cornstarch as well to help thicken this up. And I'm going to give this a little stir, get this sauce warmed up and get it cooking a little bit with all of this, the garlic and the ground gingers, really good. So I'm just going to give this a stir and kind of mash up that ground ginger, make sure it's all separated and cooking into that sauce. So my sauce is ready to go. I have my frozen meatballs, and I'm just going to stir this in, coat those meatballs, and get them nice and cooked. So I'm going to be doing this for my meal prep. I love meal prepping my lunches as well as dinners also. So I just cook it all up and prep it into my containers. So lunch is ready to go, and dinners on some nights also. We are super busy, so having some meals prepped at night is really helpful for us. So I have these teriyaki meatballs that are delicious, and then a side of green beans. So nice and light and healthy. I love light meals so that I don't overeat, and that's why I love portioning things out as well. So really great lunch or dinner. You can add a side salad as well, but this is ready to go, so it's definitely a hit for me. So I'm going to be doing a different version of Swedish meatballs, this time on the stove, and which is just really super easy, and especially if you don't have a lot of time, just really awesome to do these on the stove. I have 2 cups of beef broth that I'm going to add into my pan. I have some Worcestershire sauce, which I just absolutely love the flavor of, like I mentioned before when I was using it in one of my other recipes. So I have 1 tablespoon of that. I have half a cup of butter, so I'm going to let this butter melt into my pan and just going to make a really awesome sauce. So I'm going to now add in some Dijon mustard, which gives it really great flavor. So about a tablespoon of the Dijon mustard. And you can leave that out. It's definitely optional if you are not into the Dijon mustard flavoring. You can leave that out if you would like. So I'm going to do 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, which really gives us some really good fats and makes it nice and creamy, which I love. I'm going to give this a stir, and I'm going to add in some cornstarch as well to help thicken this up. So this is xanthan gum, and it's a keto version of cornstarch to help thicken up baking and sauces, but you can definitely use regular cornstarch as well. So I'm just adding in a teaspoon of this. If you're going to do regular cornstarch, I would do a tablespoon. So I'm going to give this a stir. It'll help make this nice and thick sauce. I'm gonna add in my frozen meatballs to cook these in here. So this is a really, really good sauce. I'm just gonna stir in my meatballs, let them simmer in this sauce for about 20 minutes while I cook the rest of the dinner. So I hope you enjoyed these 10 frozen meatball ideas. They're all delicious and super easy. If you're new to my channel, make sure you click subscribe and always leave me a comment if you have any questions at all. I'll see you in my next video.